So this next question will be the first to split off to a specific DM. And this is for Okami.
Uh-oh.
What PC of any DuWo channel campaigns do you find yourself wanting to be friends with IRL?
Oh no. Can I pick more than one, or can I only pick one?
Say you could pick a petite trio friend group.
From any DuWo campaign.
From any DuWo channel campaign.
Okay. Garganoth, first and foremost.
Yeah.
Like, number one on my list.
Top tier.
Yeah, Garth is one of a kind in all the best ways.
Hawks is number two. He's so sweet and he's so kind and he's also just so dumb in the best ways.
Every group needs one.
Every group needs your resident himbo.
Swagger, no brain. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
No, he's got the swagger. And you know what? He really has a big heart.
Is that like the Okami equivalent of Bless Your Heart?
No, the Okami equivalent of Bless Your Heart is, oh, sweetie.
All right, players, you're listening. If she's ever said that to you, now you know what it means.
And number three. Oh, this is a tough one. I feel kind of like I'm playing favorites because I keep going back to Journeys in Jutori, but it's just of all the DuWo campaigns besides my own, it's the one I'm most familiar with. But I gotta go with Odd.
Oh, throwback.
Odd's a good one.
I would love to be able to just sit and have conversations with Odd.
You do realize that you just picked out 2/3 of their detective agency.
I did not know that. Even better.
Which I don't know what that says about you, to be honest.
I have a thing for noir detective novels, don't worry.
You have a thing for silly, dumb friends.
I'm sorry, have you met me?
Frequently.
Yeah, you've seen the group I've collected.
That says alarming things about us. Don't question our intelligence.
I've never once questioned it.
Right, because you don't think we have any.
That is you reading between the lines.
That's where I live.
Fair enough.
That was that. Hey, that's a good group. I concur that would probably be a fun time. Ooh, we've already asked that one, Dice. Next question. Back to both. From Mr. Sir Duck. What was the most heartbreaking scene Doomer, you have been able to curate for your players? Now you can go a little bit more in depth or choose a different scene altogether.
All right. Well, we were playing a version of Demon Lords of the Underdark. I'm not sure if that's Into the Abyss, I think is what it is. Or Demons in the Abyss. Whatever the Underdark campaign is. And I had modified it a little bit here and there. And our team was... Oh, what was your character's name?
Vensis.
Vensis. Yes, Vensis was looking for a mentor type person from her past, or their past, and had given me a whole bunch of backstory to work with, and so I decided to have a little bit of fun. The evil Drow Queen had been chasing them for this entire campaign, which is part of the module. But when realizing that the party was getting close to getting out of the Underdark and breaking the surface, the Queen ended up having learned of this NPC from Vencis's past, had taken him, kind of charmed him into doing a few things, and then used him as bait in order to bring Vencis out. It wasn't until right after Vencis had found this character and had kind of been betrayed by the mind-controlled / charmed character that he was killed by the Drow Queen in his attempt to kind of break away and save everybody in the party, and Vencis included. And after the fight had concluded and everything had calmed down and aid had been starting to be rendered, he kind of expressed his feelings for his and Ventus's relationship and softly passed into the darkness. And it was a very gut-wrenching. I mean, I designed it to be, after all, if the character were to die, it was going to happen this way. And I believe I picked a rather sad song from the anime Angel Beats to play.
Oh.
Yeah, it was the one where the girl who likes to play baseball,
Oh.
she got her wish and like talked to the one dude about how they would have spent their life together, and then yeah, it was really sad. It was really sad. It was hard to write. It was hard to speak through. And yes, it was painful to do that to Ventus's player, but at the same time,
if you will, people. I came into this campaign saying, Doomer, I want to play a character that is just there to help. I don't want to be a leader. I don't want to make any decisions. I don't want anyone to lean on me. I'm just there to sincerely be a PC of utility. I created this small half-drow wizard, cinnamon roll to the nines, carried around this little sketched portrait of a man that them may have had a crush on, and asked every single person that I found, have you seen this drow? Without fail, every single one. Only for Doomer to wrap that up, line it with lead, and throw it back at me. And when I tell you that I had to mute myself and leave the room because I was sobbing, I was so sad and disheartened by this. And it didn't feel fair at the time. It still doesn't feel fair, let me tell you. I still have lingering trauma from this episode. But it was very powerful. He took my good faith and destroyed it.
I wouldn't say destroyed. Utterly decimated and...
Yeah.
I mean...
I was ground zero for the atomic bomb.
Which was very utilitarian of you at being the bullseye.
Thank you.
Hey,
I'm only there to help.
You wanted to play essentially a utility tool, and you know what? What better than the actual explosive device? I
play the most side character I could manage. Okay. You know me, Akami. This is not, I'm there to have a good time. Okay. So when someone you love dies tragically in front of you, after they were brain controlled by the bitch queen, it really affects you. So that was a great example, Doomer. Thank you so much for breaking my heart. It's still not back together in one solid piece.
Sorry for making you relive the trauma.
My most heart-wrenching moments probably haven't happened yet. Sorry, I have a cough there.
Stop it.
That's all I'm going to say.
I don't like that.
Oh, you're going to like what happens even worse.
No, I'm not. It's going to be 2.0.
Correct. That's all I'm going to say. No, the most heart-wrenching moment that I have ever facilitated as a DM, because it's different as a player, because as a player is Amaris's death. And honestly, that's probably the most heart-wrenching one I've ever facilitated. So in that game that we were playing, our DM had introduced a repair mechanic for weapons and armor. You actually had to tend to your weapons and armor, or they would degrade. If you're not polishing your leather, it's going to fall apart. If you're not cleaning your sword, it's going to break down, things like that. And it was really easy. You could do it during a long rest. All you had to do was say, DM, I'm I'm maintaining my gear. You didn't have to go into detail, none of it.
Well, what's
One
the
of the
fun in that?
things,
Sorry.
it was, no, you're fine. He was testing the mechanic out, so he didn't want to get super deep into the specifics. He has since gotten super deep into the specifics, and if you don't have all your components and everything, it doesn't work.
I was teasing. I didn't mean to derail you.
It's a D&D talk. If we're not derailed, I'm concerned. But Amaris was a very quiet character. She didn't like being the center of attention. She didn't like being directly involved, just due to a lot of tragedy in her backstory. Shocking, a rogue assassin with a tragic backstory. I was thinking, I was playing 4D chess at the time. But she would take it on herself to maintain the gear of her teammates. If the fighter hadn't had the chance to maintain his armor while everyone was asleep, because she was awake most of the night, she would do it. And so when we got to what I found out later was the final battle, because nobody could bear to go on. They wound up obliterating the BBEG when he was supposed to get away. I didn't know you could have a negative health bar. Like, you can have a negative health bar. I didn't realize you could have 2 negative health bars. But the DM and I discussed, and Amaris had been so focused on maintaining her teammates' gear, she'd been neglecting her own. And she never told anyone about it, because why would she? And so she had gone off to face the big battle alone because she didn't want to put her friends in danger, because he was the vampire that had turned her into a Dhampir and had forced her into this life as an assassin and all that stuff. Real tragic. And so they burst in just in time. They'd heard the sounds of fighting, and they managed to burst into the throne room just in time to watch as her 2 swords snapped, and he reached into her chest and ripped out her heart.
Ooh.
Yep. Sobbing. And they obliterated him. He was supposed to escape and was supposed to continue on. And even the characters that never quite saw eye to eye with her on anything, the ones that she never got along with. Oh, I was crying. I knew it was coming. I knew I was going to die. But the way everything happened, and much like you do me, my DM had also had music queued up, and he had his whole villain monologue as she bled out, and they were able to connect with her in the afterlife, where she finally was able to tell them that she's at peace, she's not in pain anymore, she doesn't have to suffer, she doesn't have to struggle, she's not afraid of people finding out what she is, and there was not a dry eye in the room.
Oh, those are the best.
Those are some good eye drops.
Ugh, these damn onion ninjas.
Oh, the onion ninjas. Beautiful. I love a heart-wrenching story.
Literally.
Yeah.
Literally. Now, Mr. Sirduck has asked us to pivot to a different side of D&D.
Uh-oh.
If you could rewrite one character or one scene from your duo campaign that you had made, what would you have changed?
If I could rewrite one scene and do it differently, there is a moment that was never streamed. There was a fight that I had organized for my players while they were on the ship against a group of harpies. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. I would do that fight very differently. I probably wouldn't have changed the enemies that were fought, but I would change overall how I handled the encounter. I would adjust the amount of enemies, and I would adjust one of the NPC's reactions to everything.
Interesting. Is there a why?
Yes, but I don't want to go into a huge amount of detail, just because it does involve someone who is no longer part of the campaign.
Mhm.
And I don't want to reveal a lot of information just because this is the short version is things were handled poorly and this person wound up leaving the group partially because of this and also because of some other things that were happening. And I will leave it at that.
Sure, that's fair. Our eldritch feline friend.
And I'm gonna disappoint a lot of people with this.
You're going to cop out and say nothing.
No, but as a DM, my least favorite of the Lights Gambit campaign, the part that I feel like I botched the most. And in a little background, I'm a tabletop player originally, and I really only started doing online tabletop with the group that we have now, and honestly taught most of these people D&D. We had a few that knew some previously, but all that backstory aside, honestly, where I feel like I was at my lowest and least compelling was probably the very beginning of the Lights Gambit campaign. It just felt unoriginal to me. Like, even while I was doing it, like I did the whole tavern thing. You meet at a tavern, and the local government has called for adventurers to aid some dark corruption that's threatening the land. While it was very cliche and very fitting for a bunch of people who were new to the game, I just always look back at it and I know I could have done better and done more to really engage the new players. And honestly, I feel like that's probably the most of my shortcoming is the very beginning of that campaign.
Hey, we all start somewhere.
True. But
And
So
we're
you want
only
the-
human.
You went with the other cop out answer. The beginning of my campaign sucked.
Right. The very first part was I just was not. I'm not going to tear you down. That is a valid answer.
No, I'm just gonna lovingly bully you and be like, yes, the beginning was terrible, but it's supposed to be, and look how amazing everything is now.
Yeah. Everyone's beginnings are rough. There is a learning period, especially when you have new players. Where maybe something that's a little bit more watered down than you would do now can't hurt.
yeah, I don't know. I know I could have done better if I'd put more time into it. But
Hindsight.
yeah, exactly.
Can't beat yourself up over hindsight.
I've put plenty of effort into everything recently, especially the 5-year revelation that happened in the last episode we had.
Oof. We want to
Tune
talk
in
about
for
heart-wrenching.
next week's game of Jeopardy D&D to see what that revelation was.
Yes, actually. That is one of the questions.
What happened on this day? We all cried. What is tears were shed enthusiastically, Alex?
Don't ask me for any answers.
You're
don't
gonna
have them.
You're gonna be asking for the answers.
Oh my god, it's like you knew I wouldn't be able to play.
You're going to be asking for the answers and giving me the questions. That's the way Jeopardy works.
I don't want to. Can I be the host?
No, I gotta be the host.
No.
Vanna.
I know all the answers.
I don't. That's why I shouldn't play. And you say try. You're the worst player ever. I don't dispute that claim.
Excuse you. Back the fuck up. Try again.
Try again.
No. You are cornered now.
Let's
Try again.
Sister. Try again.
One thing about me, this interview's not about me, but you're going to find out anyway. I'm bad at notes. I'm so bad at notes, you guys. Therefore, if I don't remember it, it just goes off into the ether.
You're not the worst player ever.
Aw. Well, there's that.
You think I take notes? I rely on rewatching DuWo episodes to remember what the fuck happened.
Try's brain is just a sea of bing bongs fading into the darkness.
It is. My God, the amount of times in my life that I go bing bong, for real is actually alarming. You don't want to see the Inside Out movie version of what goes on in this head. Thank you, Haustrom, for the shout out for Akami, because everyone needs a friend like that.
I will love and support you. If you can't do it for yourself, that's fine. If I can't do it for myself, that's fine. I will aggressively love and support you. You do not get a choice in this matter.
Herself, and we're still working on that. We all love and think you're the best.
Hey, you know what? Every step forward is the right step to take. Sometimes they go backwards, but sometimes I just go forward in the opposite direction.
Okay. Also, grace, people. Give us grace next week. We haven't played in a long time.
Oh, it's been a minute.
There will be no grace. There will be death. Wait.
Can there be partners?
I will have tried my team, and I will carry us to victory with Jeopardy.
Oh,
those who answer wrong will be banished to the Shadow Realm.
I'm the personality hire, friends. I'm not there for the answer.
You're the diversity hire. It's okay.
I am the diversity hire. Fantastic. Well, speaking of potential diversity hires, what was something your party did that still makes your headache?
Do I only have to pick one?
We might only have time for you two.
Oh, there's so many.
I know.
Or it makes your booty hole clench. Whatever reaction.
Oh, it doesn't feel like that long ago, but sometimes my players have such harebrained schemes, and no matter how many hints I drop or little phrases I use, they still go ahead with them. And every once in a while they work. I am recalling a fight in a small edge of a lake with a floating platform high above the water, fighting skeletons on each side, and a batshit crazy ranger going in to try and take out one of the generals of the big bad, and pretty much succeeding and surviving by 1 HP. I thought for sure they were going to bite it. I was ready for them to bite it. And no matter how many times I tried to kind of warn against it, they still did it. I got a headache, my blood pressure went up, and then they succeeded. And I was wrong, and it worked out just fine.
We love our ranger. Shout out to our ranger with the tank complex.
Yes, Kaylin, indeed. But yeah, well played. Well played.
I feel kind of bad because it's pick on Gamma moment, but
oh, no.
I'm gonna have to go with diving into a pool of liquid, assumedly, that looks like the stars in the sky, while basically having a nuke strapped to your chest. I'm sitting there waiting for this character to bite it, waiting for everybody to realize, oh hey, this time is ticking. This person has dove into liquid. We don't know if they can breathe liquid. And thankfully, one of the other party members kind of went, we should pull them out. Oh, and I should also amend, this character originally did not have a rope tied to their waist and was going to dive without the rope.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, that was one of those. If there was a moment where I was preparing for an accidental TPK, I was sitting there. I had eulogies planned.
Oh no!
It was going to be beautiful. I had a funeral planned. Would have been wonderfully touching.
That party can't TPK. They're a bunch of little gold mines, just little nuggets.
You guys are all just. I'm not going to be able to throw something at you that actually kills you. You guys are going to wind up killing yourselves.
I mean, I am working on nukes, but...
Yeah, I'm aware between you and Hellstrom. My world is never going to know a moment's peace, and then then you're gonna roll a nat 1 on something, and you're gonna wonder what uranium smells like.
Oh no. Can you build us a panic room on the ship? Preferably actually a sidecar panic room that we can go into and leave when you decide to do that.
Bold of you not to assume that Scratch does not have a panic room built into his cabin.
Wow, so selfish. Little shit.
I said bold of you to assume. I didn't say it was true or not.